Am I the asshole for refusing to call an Uber for my roommate after she got stranded at work? My 32F roommate, 28F, got stranded at work today. My husband, 33M, was still at work for another 45 minutes. I asked her could she wait and she said they wouldn't let her wait inside, which doesn't sound right for a popular fast food chain. So, she asked me to send her an Uber, which would have cost $23. I told her she could wait for a ride because I know there was no way I'm getting that money back on her first check. She already owes back rent for being here for a month and contributing nothing. She called me heartless, then told me not to worry because she sees what kind of friend I am. She said it was freezing outside and she could die of hypothermia. We live in the south and it was 43 degrees Fahrenheit. Later, she called me right before my husband was going to come get her and said, "Someone was nice and is giving me a lift home, so save your precious gas." I shrugged it off, but she's not talking to me. So, am I the asshole? From what I'm hearing, I would vote not the asshole just because it's not your responsibility to make sure she's where she needs to be. It seems like she's a capable adult, so she should have planned ahead and had some extra money with her to get herself an Uber. I do wonder why she didn't just order an Uber herself. It just seems like she wants you to pay for it instead of her, and she could if she really wanted to. Not the asshole. You had no obligation to advance her money when you were already advancing rent. She is entitled and you should nip that in the bud. Not the asshole. My first thought is, why doesn't she get her own Uber? But if it's a new job and no prior income, was already borrowing money, well, that point's answered. But it's weird that she's not allowed to wait inside at work while waiting for a ride. That would beg the question, why isn't she allowed to wait inside? Did she do something that got her kicked out of the building? At which point she might not have the job anymore anyways. Or is she just stubborn and refusing to walk back inside because, I'm already outside, going back inside would look weird. At which point she's just being a stubborn brat and needs to realize nobody cares about her social appearance that much. I may be the asshole, but my first thought was, did you take her on to raise? No, why could you be responsible for a grown-ass adult? That already owes you money? Not the asshole, you were nice enough to get your husband to give her a lift, and it seems there's more issues than just a ride. Time for a new roommate? I have a rule with people, I won't loan money if you haven't paid me back for the last time. But I also always expect not to get my loan back. It really just prevents me from getting into a cycle of giving someone money. It does a decent job of holding people accountable and realizing they put themselves into a spot. Also sounds like your friend is down on herself. I doubt they wouldn't let her wait inside. Just sounds like her emotions are big right now. Either that or she is using you. But I'd like to think it's guilt and feeling sorry for herself. Am I the asshole for making my mom cry after telling her she can't control my life? I, 18M, just finished high school and live with my mom, who's deeply controlling, religious and conservative. She recently announced that she plans to send me to an Islamic boarding school for at least 5 years. That means no college, no job, no pursuing my goals, just being stuck in a school that I don't want to attend. Here's the confusing part. My older brother is in college now. He started a bit later, so maybe she's trying to repeat that process with me, but honestly, I don't want to wait. I've been looking forward to working and going to college straight away. I want to start building my future now, not 5 years from now. The worst part is that I don't even believe anymore. I've kept this to myself for obvious reasons. So, the idea of going to this school feels even more stifling and out of place for me. Today, she told me it was final. She's taking me to this school whether I like it or not. That's when I snapped. I told her, no, it's my life, and I'm the one who gets to decide. I'm not a little kid anymore, and you can't control me like this. She immediately started crying and saying stuff like, I've sacrificed everything for you, and this is how you repay me. I didn't know how to respond. On the one hand, I feel bad for upsetting her, but on the other, I feel like I have the right to decide my own future. Now I'm sitting here, waiting to see what happens next. I'm torn between guilt and frustration. So, am I the asshole for standing up for myself, even if it made her cry? Or should I have handled this differently? Edit. To clear things up, yes, I live in the US. After reading the supportive comments, I've decided to move to another city and state where no one knows me. I have a little bit of money saved up, which I'll use. It's not much, but it helps. I can't rely on friends or family for help. Everyone is extremely conservative, I don't think I can trust them. And even my brother, who's in college, can't do much since he still lives with us. His campus is near our house, and is under my mom's control in everything, from his hair to his daily life. Thanks to everyone for the advice and support, it's helped me decide on my next steps. You're 18, so she can't make you do anything anymore. That's why she's using tears to manipulate you. Advice I give everyone. At the end of your life you can't keep blaming your parents for your choices, mistakes or missed opportunities. They won't acknowledge or take responsibility for any of it. And they don't have to. So either you do what you want and live with the consequences. Or you live your life according to your parents' expectations and live with those consequences. But make no mistake, it's your life and your consequences. Good or bad. AITA. Not the asshole, obviously. Her plan to keep you from an education is going to affect your future forever. You'll never get those 5 years back where you'd learn and mature with your peers, where you can start building your future financial stability, where many people meet a spouse. She's being manipulative and selfish. Don't sacrifice your future to her anxiety and self-absorption. Not the asshole. I've gotten this response from my parents before. I'm Sikh, Indian. It's honestly pretty sad to think about what my parents have gone through and all of the choices that have been stolen away from them. But I don't think it's fair for those sacrifices to be perpetuated across generations and weaponized for the sake of control. You do have the right to decide your own future. All you're doing is following your dreams and trying to discover happiness. I think there are plenty of ways to express appreciation for your parents that don't involve agreeing to letting them control your life decisions. Same here, from religious parents. They controlling me like which major of study I must take, that kind of things. They almost set me up to married with my cousin. I don't want it. I search my love on my own. When I find him, he's no religious nothing event cannot praying lol tears of joy. My parents really snap and they don't want me to married at first, but I just said if you NT give me permission I will go run away to his country and you never see me anymore. I was 27 that time. In the end we married and now I live far from my parents. They still want to controlling even their own grandkids saying they must join to Islamic school. I just said yeah I will think about it and forget it of course, because as with the phone calls so is not as intense as you talk by them directly. Not the asshole. If you are in the US, you are an adult. She quite literally can't make you do things you don't want to. That being said, be careful. I've seen many stories of parents kicking out their unprepared 18-year-olds for having differing beliefs. I do not know how things work in other countries. Please add to assist op. Not the asshole. Classic emotional blackmail. Cut her off op. Am I the asshole for deciding to cook for myself and not my husband? TW loss of a parent. I, 42F, have been married to my husband, 48F, for 12 years, together for 15. We both work full-time, no kids. My husband is ND and extremely successful in his career, but struggles with day-to-day functioning. He has a lot of dietary restrictions and over the years I was happy to work around those. Mostly we now eat homemade salad and baked chicken, in various forms. Unfortunately, this resulted in a situation where I do all the cooking. Any attempts to cook for me have lasted about one night before he is overwhelmed and frazzled and so I just go back to cooking as it's what I have always done. I also pay all the bills, manage the household, take care of the dogs, do the laundry, clean the house, and work my own jobs. I am an academic and work at 2 schools. Over the last 5 years, my husband has been sick with various ailments, starting with atypical long COVID, and then this year accelerating into an allergy to wood dust, intolerance to edibles, allergy to a paint I used on the kitchen cabinets, a reaction to our gas stove, and now, and this is the problem, an inability to tolerate chicken being baked in a tiny electric toaster oven as I'm not allowed to use gas anymore. He will not eat other meats or pasta. I cannot use the stovetop as causes oil to splatter and it bothers him. He has pursued no medical solution aside from an inhaler from his PCP. His symptoms are mysterious and variable. He has not seen an allergist or rheumatologist in spite of my pleading. In the middle of all of this, I was the primary caretaker for my father, who died slowly and brutally. He died in my arms on December 21, 24 after 10 months of illness, during which time I became his medical and financial power of attorney. He died hardly more than 2 weeks ago. For those of you that know, you know. For those of you that do not know, I don't want you to know. I am now the primary caretaker for my mother. Since the death, my husband's health issues about me cooking have arisen and have become the focal point of a tremendous amount of friction in our marriage and home life. I know I am not helping. I am exhausted. I am traumatized by the death. I am lost. I am angry at not being able to cook in my own home unless I break my workday to do so that the chicken off gassing has passed by the time he returns home from work. And even then it causes so much stress, which compounds my desperate sadness. It seems silly to grieve the loss of the ability to cook as I did, but I do. This morning, finally, I realized that perhaps I needed to remove myself from this whole emotional food-centered loop and told my husband he can cook and shop for himself and I will cook and shop for myself and the dogs. He was not happy about this at all. I feel like a miserable failure of a wife. But I am drowning. I had to put some sort of boundary down so that I could protect and nourish myself in this hard time. Am I the asshole for longer wanting to cook in this impossible environment? ETA. Thank you all so much. You have made such a difference. I am reading and processing all you're saying and will reply to everything. Not the asshole. I also pay all the bills, manage the household, take care of the dogs, do the laundry, clean the house, and work on my own jobs. I am an academic and work at 2 schools. You do all of this on top of cooking. What does your husband do? Does he help with bills? Does he help with taking care of the dogs? Does he do anything besides work? Does his money go towards something for the house or marriage? From what it looks like, this marriage is a one-way street. He can't even cook for you nor himself because he gets overwhelmed? Does he seek help to help him function better as an adult? As I see it, you're a full-time maid with a full-time job and other responsibilities. Not the asshole. Are you saying your husband has decided that he has all of those bizarre allergies, wood dust, gas stove, etc., on his own without meeting with an allergist? He is putting an insane burden on you and doing nothing to help. I'll be honest, he's mean and selfish for expecting you to sacrifice your quality of life for all of his whatnot. I would for sure stop cooking for him. I would cook my own food however I want to. I would tell him if he doesn't go to multiple doctors to assess all this, then the marriage is over. Stop. Just stop the madness. In addition to cooking your own meals, use the gas stove until he sees a medical provider and assign him some chores. Is he going to like it? Probably not, but listen to yourself. You are exhausted, traumatized, lost and angry. If anyone needs self-care, it's you. If your hubs doesn't have the skills to care for you, then you are just in caring for yourself. That does not make you a failure. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Your husband is an adult. He needs to help himself, and if he won't do it by seeing doctors to figure out his problem, then he needs to deal with his problem his way and not drag you down with him. I am so sorry that you are going through all of this. It's not fair of your husband to put this on you. Tell him you will start cooking and shopping for him again after he sees a specialist. That's a compromise. I wish you all the luck, Op. Not the asshole. That's not a husband, that's a leech and you're a servant. I hope you get yourself out of this. Life can be hard, but it shouldn't be this miserable. Not the asshole. You need to take a break for yourself. You can't tear yourself apart trying to take care of the needs of everyone else. Your husband can figure his own meals out. To be honest, it sounds as he's making random shit up to make life more difficult for you. Has he been jealous of the attention your father got? If things don't change, you should really think about removing yourself from the situation permanently. Women have often been raised to be self-sacrificing caretakers, but you also have a right to be pleased with your life. Am I the asshole for telling my mother about my stepmom being mean to me? Hi, sorry for the weird formatting since this was done on Mobile Plus on a throwaway account since I don't want my family finding this out. I'm really desperate for the insight of people who don't know me and aren't biased. My parents, 54 male and 56 female, have shared custody of me, 16 female, so I stay 1 week in my dad's house and a week in my mom's house. My dad and mom both remarried. Mom married Josh, 57 male, and dad married Alice, 50 female. I have always had good relationship with my stepmom. She always treated me nicely, and insisted I mustn't see her as a mom but as a friend. Keep in mind she is much wealthier than my dad, and purchased his house and the beach house they currently own. For Christmas, me and my sister, Selena, 19 female, decided to go to my stepmom's beach house with my dad and step-sibling. Also keep in mind that the beach has insects and spiders, as it is very tropical, plus I have a serious debilitating phobia of spiders which all of my family knows about. Every day I used to find spiders in my room, which was really hard to deal with, since I would just try to pretend I didn't see them until I could find someone to get them out. Regardless, one day, my stepmother was helping me get the spider that was in my pillowcase. Of course, I freaked out. I suggested that I could get an Uber to my mom's place, which isn't far away, since I really wasn't enjoying the vacation because of that but could see them in the city for New Year's Eve. She got extremely upset at that, saying that I was nothing more than a spoiled little B-word and that I was a cow and that I could just call my mom, but nobody wants me in their house anyway. I started ugly crying. This wasn't the first time she called me stuff like that, but we had a friendly relationship now. I called my mom and she threatened my dad, who defended my stepmom, and called him a bad father, and now is fighting for full custody of me, and that really hurt my father. I know that this has caused a strain on my dad and stepmother's relationship, and that if they divorce, my father is losing the house and a place to live, as he doesn't work and makes money anymore. My sister is blaming me, saying I could have stayed a few more days, but my mother says no matter how I freaked out, Alice could never say these things to me. Was I the aw? How do I navigate this? Not the asshole. No excuse for her vile response. Your dad should be the one taking the lead here now. Not you. If your dad does not take immediate action to make her apologize and try to make amends, then he's essentially choosing her, or her money, over you. Don't let that slide. Not the asshole. No matter how frustrated adults are, they do not have any rights to say those words to someone. She definitely crossed the line and your biological mom have all the rights to step in. Your dad was there. He should have talked with Alice about how her words are not right. Even if they get divorced, it's not your fault. Not the asshole. As your mother's child, the best thing you can do is be honest with her about stuff like this. That should go for your father as well, and I'm sorry he failed you. Not the asshole. 1. No situation justifies Alice being this mean to you. Your suggestion was quite reasonable and would not hassle anyone. If she freaks out like this when things don't go her way, she's the spoiled one. 2. Your father should have taken your side there. So what, because she's rich and pays all the bills she gets to act crazy towards his family? His sense of family shouldn't be for sale. 3. Whatever happens to your father, Alice's relationship is not your fault at all. His financial arrangements and the fact he allowed himself in such delicate position are also not your responsibility. This wasn't the first time she called me stuff like that, but we had a friendly relationship now. Then it wasn't a friendly relationship, like, at all. Not the asshole. If there's a strain on that relationship, you didn't cause it. You have a very serious and reasonable phobia, one that I happen to share with you. Your stepmother's reaction was way out of line. And who the hell wants to go to a beach house that's filled with insects? What is wrong with her for keeping the place like that? Not the asshole remotely.